Welcome to Good Morning Uganda. I'm Olive Monica Najuma, joined by Chantal Olive Akandinda and Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono, plus Jerome Paul Sonko. We are here again like we do every morning from Monday to Friday to take you through your morning and of course help you to make certain decisions. Let's say if you want to know the best route to use to get to your place of work, we will be giving you traffic updates later on in the day, but we'll also be having a conversation about the upcoming airline summit by Uganda Airlines that is being organized by Uganda Airlines. So we'd like for you to stay around and learn a thing or two from this conversation, and more conversations are coming your way this morning. But anyway, a lot happens in the news from the time we leave the set in the morning the previous day to when we come back, and I would like to go back to the team and find out some of the stories that they had or that made sense or didn't make sense to them yesterday or as of this morning. Good morning, Chirabo.
A lovely morning to you. I hope you're fine because you really look very fine.
Thank you.
Yes, and our viewer, thank you so much for waking up with us. Yes, we are here and so much is happening in our country. That is one of the reasons you should wake up with us, because we give you an overview of what is happening around you and overseas.
Thank you. Any story? So yesterday we had a conversation about the continuous boycott by the opposition members of parliament in parliament, and of course what the Speaker of Parliament said, she said if they miss over 15 sittings, she will invoke the constitution that gives her the right to actually dismiss them. So as we speak, if members of parliament from the opposition continue not to show up in parliament for plenary sessions, they might lose their seats. So is there a development to that?
Now that is also complicated because the law says if a member of parliament misses 15 consecutive sittings without a valid reason, that is when the speaker can suspend them.
Yes.
Now these opposition members are very wise. They don't come to plenary, but some are on committees. Majority of them, almost each member has a committee where they are, and they are doing committee work,
but not plenary.
Not plenary.
So does that?
So they are not absent from parliament.
So the law that the speaker is talking about that she might invoke, does it only refer to plenary sessions or parliament work overall?
Now that is where we need interpretation.
Okay.
That's where we need interpretation, because and second, there is a reason that they have given. They're not just absenting. You know, we've ever had two members of parliament, if my memory serves me right, who lost their seats in this manner. One traveled abroad and I think found better pastures. The other was representing the army. Now, these people gave reason for their leave.
Is it a valid reason? Because you said
from
valid
the leader
reason.
of opposition. Now it all will go to interpretation. And remember, under this leadership of the current speaker, we've had cases. For example, Zake, when he went to court.
When he was actually suspended.
When he lost his position as a commissioner.
Yes.
Now, with the law, it may not only be just looking at a bit or a section. You must interpret it very well. Otherwise, you may end up losing cases. You may end up even making parliament to compensate or pay a lot of money in one way or the other. So it is tricky. They have a reason they have given. The leader of opposition is aware. Actually, it's the one leading it. Second, these are not off the premises. They are doing parliamentary work, because the work of a member of parliament is not only plenary.
Yes, yes.
So if people are busy on committees, then there you can have legal technicalities here and there, and some may even end up benefiting or getting more political mileage out of the whole thing. Imagine if the speaker says I've suspended these members, and then that decision has to be reversed by court. Do you still have, do you reign over them? What does that mean?
Well, it might create some gaps when it comes to the power that the speaker has over the House. But also, for me, it is a wastage of taxpayers' money. Now you are in court. Now you're not going to plenary. Now it's a lot of work, and at the end of the day, the grass is, which is the electorate, is what suffers. But I would like to check on the lady on the team. Good morning, lady in burnt orange.
Good morning, Olive. How are you feeling today?
I am great. How are you?
I'm good. I am very, very motivated that tomorrow is Friday. Okay, let me put it like this. I'm very motivated that the week is coming to an end.
That's better.
Yeah, it sounds better, yeah.
Yeah, sounds better.
I'm very motivated. We are coming to the end of the week and I'm looking forward to the weekend. I've like never before this whole year. I'm looking forward to the weekend, but I'm doing all right. And hopefully you, our dearest viewer, is feeling all right this morning. It's a Thursday. Yesterday it showered quite a lot, so you might want to today maybe carry something lighter. It's likely to shine, not that I know, but likely to shine. You just might never know.
All right, and speaking about what has been happening in the world of news, what is that one story that stood out yesterday or even this morning?
I landed on a report where Dr. Byaba Shaija, who is the Commissioner General of Prisons, saying the prisons are congested and full actually, and says that has led to poor quality lives of the prisoners and of course accommodation issues. We also do remember one report, remember in 2020 or 21 when these Nigerian artists, or 2020 actually, were caught in Uganda.
That is Thames
and then Thames
Overlay.
came out and
Yes.
said, first of all, the uniform was dirty, the place was congested, the place was very dirty. So it says a lot. And now, I mean, the Commissioner General of Prisons comes and says they are full to capacity. And I'm wondering, do we have a plan to handle that? Do we see ourselves reducing the numbers? And what is the judiciary also saying about it? Because at one particular point, the judiciary was really also overwhelmed, and also that transitioned into very many prisoners. So I'm hoping that this is actually handled, and also the question of whether they should construct more prisons or ensure that people are more orderly.
Actually, the touch points here, first of all, the judiciary, of course, keeps saying that they need more officers. Some people stay longer on remand because it takes time for their files, to be seen. But also, there are many petty thieves in prison, or people on petty crimes that are in prison, and they don't have to really stay there too long, because at the end of the day they congest the place, and when we get the heavy criminals, then we have nowhere to put them.
You know what is the bad bit of it is our prisons have the capacity currently to hold 20,000 inmates, and they are holding 76.
That is an extra
367.
Now,
76,367.
when you do simple mathematics, they have more than 3 times the number they're supposed to be holding.
Yes.
And just imagine that. But also, judiciary has done some good work. Why am I saying so? Today we have more convicts in these prisons than remandees.
Ah, okay.
So we have the ratios. We have about 50% or about 55%. Those that have been convicted.
39,000
so
convicted.
Yes, so I was trying to look at percentage-wise. It's very easier for mathematics. So if you look at that, that is an achievement, because about 5 years back, we had so many on remand. Now if we have the numbers slightly going up, and also the alternative ways of justice that now we are having. For petty offenders, there's what they call community service. And the Ugandans should move away from thinking everything must end, so then he has gone to court. There are many alternatives. You have LC courts, a number of courts. But for some reason, people, even if someone slapped the other, they want to make sure they have been arrested, put behind bars. No,
actually, the Chief Justice has been really vocal on alternative ways of justice as a way to decongest the prisons, but also not to overwhelm the judiciary. Good morning, Jerome Paul. Is it a beautiful week for you so far?
Well, I cannot only say it has been a fair one. Not as beautiful as I expected, but a fair one. So I believe the weekend will be better, with better news and let's say more enjoyments to come.
Well, a lot is lined up for this weekend.
Yeah, indeed.
Anyway, good morning, Uganda. We give you news, and right now we give you the local news.
And we'll begin with affairs at the airport, where the president has directed eviction of CMI officers. Now, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni instructed immediate vacation of CMI officers from Entebbe International Airport. The president was officiating at the pass-out of 2,000 officers trained in hybrid CID induction and ideological courses at Kabarie Police Training Institute in Masindi district. He reiterated on the negative image of CMI officers at the airport. President Kaguta Museveni said these should leave the airport with immediate effect and instructed eviction of all officers from the airport. President, while passing out the 2,000 police trainees at Kabali Police School, directed Immigration Officers Department to revise and means of scanning and checking quickly travelers at the airport. The president advised officers to upgrade their qualifications for the prevailing crime environment in the country. Police commits to retraining officers to match the contemporary security challenges the country is facing.
Away from that, the Vice President, retired Major General Jessica Alupo, the Vice President, retired Major Jessica Alupo, has emphasized the government's commitment to prioritizing resources, strengthening partnerships, and promoting innovations to accelerate the realization of Sustainable Development Goal 6 related to water and sanitation. These remarks were made during the 40th anniversary celebrations of Water Aid Uganda, where she recommended the inclusion of water aid into the parish development model.
And moving on, the Prime Minister of Uganda, Right Honorable Robert Banja, met Chinese Ambassador to Uganda, His Excellency Zahang Lizhong, and discussed matters of mutual benefit for the two countries. The meeting took place at the office of the Prime Minister in Kampala. Nabanja lauded the Chinese government for support rendered to Uganda, more so in infrastructure development for transformation of the country.
And speaking matters sports, the Speaker of Parliament, Anita Annette Among, has urged members of Parliament from Lango to stop their speculations about government decision regarding the fate of the proposed Akibwa Memorial Stadium as a host for the 2027 Africa Cup of Nations. This came after these members of Parliament under their body, the Lango Parliamentary Group, expressed their dissatisfaction with government's decision to exclude Akibwa from the facilities that will host AFCON. Well, that does it for the local news stories. Now let's look at the international news.
On the international scene, with the United States, United Kingdom and Russia abstaining, the UN Secretary Council passes resolution calling for extended humanitarian pauses in Gaza, but calls for a ceasefire remain unheeded. Israeli forces launched another raid at the Al-Shifa medical complex in Gaza City on Thursday, according to a doctor inside the hospital, as Hamas rejects claims of weapons being uncovered during hours-long raid yesterday. Palestinian Foreign Ministry warns against Israel's misleading fabrications about Al-Shifa, where thousands are taking shelter. More than 11,300 Palestinians have been killed in Israeli strikes on Gaza since October 7th. US President Joe Biden and Chinese President Xi Jinping have concluded more than 4 hours of talks with a commitment to stabilize strained bilateral ties and restore some military-to-military communications. The two leaders met on Wednesday for the first time in a year at Filoli Estate, a country retreat about 25 miles or 40 kilometers south of San Francisco. After a handshake and smiles, they sat down for talks that lasted more than 2 hours. Next was a working lunch with key officials, followed by a stroll around the manicured gardens. Writing on social media site X, Biden said he valued the conversation he had with Xi. The world has seen enough of the tragedy in Gaza, and it is time for countries to use their influence over Israel to put a stop to this real crime against humanity, South African Foreign Minister Naledi Pandor has said South Africa was one of the few countries that cut ties with Israel in response to its attack on the Gaza Strip. Naledi told Al Jazeera on Wednesday that her government may refer Israel to the International Criminal Court as it continues its assault on Gaza. We are appalled at how this horror and tragedy that is unfolding continues to get worse and worse. I think the world has seen enough, and it is time for the most powerful in the world to put a stop to this horror and that Israel is unfolding against the people of Palestine, she said. The US and China have agreed on measures to tackle climate change, but stopped short of committing to end fossil fuels, a joint statement said. The world's biggest carbon emitters will step up cooperation on methane and support global efforts to triple renewable energy by 2030. But the document is silent on the use of coal and the future of fossil energy. Observers said it was a positive sign ahead of a UN climate summit. The joint statement comes as the presidents of both countries prepare to meet in California with climate change representing one of the few areas of potential progress. For over a year, US diplomats have been trying to find a way forward with China after Beijing suspended climate talks after the visit of the US Speaker Nancy Pelosi in Taiwan. That is it for climate news and also what is happening internationally.
And done with the international news and of course climate news, now we get to Jerome Paul Sonko to tell us what is happening in the newspapers this morning.
Well, at the front pages of the New Vision this morning, Museveni blasts USA and the UK over travel alerts. The two countries issued advisories to their citizens against the Ginger Festival last weekend. Then also employment, Makere, job seekers forging varsity papers. As in the health perspective, anthrax breaks out in Uganda. In the other news, royal wedding, ceremonial wife to hand over to Inebantu. And then in the other series, Okello, the Ugandan who liberated Zanzibar, as a pictorial of fast-tracking digital number plates is what the president says in regards to the rollout of the number plates. Now, the Daily Monitor. Makerere University is set to verify degrees of its working alumni as in the DM Today relationship meant to be. Milton and Naomi met 18 years ago at university. Then the United Nations harboring terrorists, says Museveni. Then church clears Chabazinga wedding as scientists decode why grasshoppers are a no-show this time around. Then in the other news, President Museveni orders CMI out of Entebbe Airport as Karamoja tables education reforms. So that's it for our local dailies so far. Later on in the show, we shall as well be looking at what is making headlines across the East African region.
And with that, and in the spirit of throwing back, because today is Throwback Thursday, we will leave you with a song from Mariah Carey, Angels Cry. Welcome to Good Morning Uganda. I'm Olive Monica Najuma, joined by Chantal Olive Akandinda and Robert Shirabonyonyintono, plus Jerome Paul Sonko. We are here again, like we do every morning from Monday to Friday, to take you through your morning and of course help you to make certain decisions. Let's say if you want to know the best route to use to get to your place of work, we will be giving you traffic updates later on in the day, but we'll also be having a conversation about the upcoming airline Summit by Uganda Airlines that is being organized by Uganda Airlines. So we'd like for you to stay around and learn a thing or two from this conversation, and more conversations are coming your way this morning. But anyway, a lot happens in the news from the time we leave the set in the morning the previous day to when we come back, and I would like to go back to the team and find out some of the stories that they had or that made sense or didn't make sense to them yesterday or as of this morning. Good morning, Chirabo.
A lovely morning to you. I hope you're fine, because you really look very fine.
Thank you.
Yes, and our viewer, thank you so much for waking up with us. Yes, we are here and so much is happening in our country. That is one of the reasons you should wake up with us, because we give you an overview of what is happening around you and overseas.
Thank you. Any story? So yesterday we had a conversation about the continuous boycott by the opposition members of parliament in parliament, and of course what the Speaker of Parliament said, she said if they miss over 15 sittings, she will invoke the constitution that gives her the right to actually dismiss them. So as we speak, if members of parliament from the opposition continue not to show up in parliament for plenary sessions, they might lose their seats.
Now,
so is there a development to that?
Now that is also complicated, because the law says if a member of parliament misses 15 consecutive sittings without a valid reason, that is when the speaker can suspend them.
Yes.
Now these opposition members are very wise. They don't come to plenary, but some are on committees. Majority of them, almost each member has a committee where they are, and they are doing committee work,
but not plenary.
not plenary.
So does that
So
law
they are
that
not
does-
absent from parliament.
So the law that the speaker is talking about that she might invoke, does it only refer to plenary sessions or parliament work overall?
Now that is where we need interpretation.
Okay.
That's where we need interpretation, because and second, there is a reason that they have given. They're not just absenting. You know, we've ever had two members of parliament, if my memory serves me right, who lost their seats in this manner. One traveled abroad and I think found better pastures. The other was
never
representing
returned.
the army. Now, these people gave reason for their leave.
Is it a valid reason?
For,
Because you said
from
valid
the leader
reason.
of opposition. Now it all will go to interpretation. And remember, under this leadership of the current speaker, we've had cases. For example, Zake, when he went to court,
When he was actually suspended.
when he lost his position as a commissioner.
Yes.
Now, with the law, it may not only be just looking at a bit or a section. You must interpret it very well. Otherwise, you may end up losing cases. You may end up even making parliament to compensate or pay a lot of money in one way or the other. So it is tricky. They have a reason they have given. The leader of opposition is aware. Actually, it's the one leading
white cane, braille paper, hearing aids, wheelchairs, audiobooks, book recorders, JAWS software, among others on 10th December at Hotel Africana. Register your child with a disability by calling us on 0740 55 04 95 or 0783 91 11 14. Donations from well-wishers are also welcome. Entrance is 100,000, 150,000, 200,000 and a table goes for 1 million shillings. This is sponsored by UBC, Mokisa Inclusive Schools, Mokisa Nursery and Primary School, Herona Hospital, Msafiri Tours and Molia Foundation.
So this is my general perception. One, that this project entered in strategic areas of government, but that it has created a base for the now last mile strategy, which is the parish development model. And therefore this base that it has left will help us actually, and I'm sure we'll get better results in a Chole area and Ajumani when we are implementing the parish development model.
Junko. Yo. Wachiko. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Uganda, haven't you heard of the parish development model, PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a poultry project, and now things are moving.
Junko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
African Airline Association, in conjunction with Uganda Airlines, presents the 55th AFRA Annual General Assembly between the 19th and 21st November 2023 at Speak Resort Hotel, Munyonyo, in the heart of Uganda, the Pearl of Africa. In attendance will be 500 high-profile African and global aviation leaders, 40 airline CEOs making strides to transform aviation for development. The 55th AFRA AGA is proudly powered by
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
Mukoke Fish Farmers Association tuli balunzi ba byananda ebyebika ebisatu omuli Miracap, tilapia oba engege ni catfish twete male. Group eno twatandika twali abantu basatu nga tulingirira obwetaavu obwebyenanda obwivwa eno okubona nti tufuna okasente akava mu maadi agali gatambula butambule nga gatubita ku wanu ng'ekirabo. Twatandika ne fish pond ndala mu mwaka ogw'2018. Twebaza fisheries officer ne district ya Bugiri babanga batulagirira ku Sani Fish Farm ebuyikwe inside deidinde eyo twabanga tusobola okufuna kwetusaako obugege obwasooka era mu mwaka ogwali 2020 awo basobola okubanga batuwaayo ebyenanda emitwalo $4 okuva mu operation werese creation era okuba yongereza ku emmere yatuweebwa okuva Uganda Poultry Breeders. Twasobola okubanga tusoloza akasente akawerera obukayire nga 42. Twasobola okubanga tubuinvestinga oba okubona nti twongerezaako ku bimu ku bintu bye tukola gano. Twebaza gavumenti yaife okubanga buli saawa efaayo okubanga efeeri y'Abannayuganda.
This perennial, as the name prescribes, is the project for restoration of livelihood in northern region. So it was designed to support the population in order to implement the national programs of wealth creation, improving household income, and this is done through supporting agriculture. And by supporting agriculture, you support seed production, training of farmers, mindset change, and even it went ahead to have components of food security grants, whereby families were given grants to be able to improve their food security. But there was also community-based natural resources grants, which were given to families to put in place woodlots, which would help them to reduce on killing the vegetation and deforestation, looking for energy or for firewood. So this is my general perception. One, that this project entered in strategic areas of government, but that it has created a base for the now last mile strategy, which is the past development model. And therefore this base that it has left will help us actually, and I'm sure we'll get better results in a Chole area and Ajumani when we are implementing the past development model.
Previously, in most of these areas that we had prioritized, farmers would produce, but you don't access market because the roads are not there. So you have the middlemen that would have access and they persevere to go into those deep in the villages and they buy with their own prices. They can go there and set prices for you, and yet you're the ones who have produced this food. But now this time with the market linkages, people can now access market because we have bridges that were, streams that were bottlenecks to access by the farmers. Yet has constructed bridges, so farmers can now reach market.
I've seen a number of community members out there that have formed themselves into groups and have identified enterprises, agricultural enterprises, rice and all that, and they've actually been successfully cultivating them. They've gone ahead, the project has gone ahead and also introduced small-scale industries like the rice huller, the grinding mills and all that are managed by the groups. All these are successes.
City market lies in 4 acres of land with a population of about 4,000 registered market vendors who are doing business in this facility. We really appreciate the initiative of the government to come up with this project that is benefiting not only the business community within the market, but the entire community within actually sub-region. When you look at the market previously, the market used to be not like this one. With the market vendors, they used to sell under papyrus reeds. And we used also to ferry our goods, come and sell, then you take it in the stores or elsewhere. But now, due to this infrastructural development, the vendors now, they are able now to sell, cover your goods, leave it there, and you come and get it the next day when it is safe. The safety of our goods and the convenience of doing business has improved greatly. That makes the local community very, very, very happy when they are doing business in the market now. I want to appeal to my fellow vendors and the community of the entire Chile sub-region that we need to embrace and support the government so that they continue also bringing us more development in our region.
Actually, Zono Industrial is one of the presidential initiatives which is brought here in Achule land to skill our youth. The skilling is free of charge. What you really need, you have to be within the age of 18 to 35. They don't need any requirements apart from being willing. You have to be willing, and a youth who is willing to get the skills. The courses we have started with only 4. That is tailoring, hairdressing, carpentry, and welding. First intake, we registered 212 students from 10 administrative units of Acholi. These students, they recruited them from different districts within the Acholi sub-region. If we continue with this cooperation, many beneficiaries will pass through us, and they will go with enough skills and non-skills, which will change them and later bring them into an economy. We shall really fight poverty in that way.
African Airline Association, in conjunction with Uganda Airlines, presents the 55th AFRA Annual General Assembly between the 19th and 21st November 2023 at Speak Resort Hotel, Munyonyo, in the heart of Uganda, the Pearl of Africa. In attendance will be 500 high-profile African and global aviation leaders, 40 airline CEOs making strides to transform aviation for development. The 55th AFRA AGA is proudly powered by
Over 1,000 children with disabilities in Uganda every 5 years have not had access to adequate education. And this has been basically due to lack of assistive devices to enable them get reasonable accommodation in schools. Mokisa Humanity and Inclusion Foundation is leading a campaign to fundraise for assistive devices for 500 children with disabilities to get in school in the year 2024. Join us to fundraise for braille machines, slates and styluses, white cane, braille paper, hearing aids, wheelchairs, audiobooks, book recorders, JAWS software, among others on 10th December at Hotel Africana. Register your child with a disability by calling us on 0740 55 04 95 or 0783 91 11 14. Donations from well-wishers are also welcome. Entrance is 100,000, 150,000, 200,000 and a table goes for 1 million shillings. This is sponsored by UBC, Mokisa Inclusive Schools, Mokisa Nursery Primary School, Herona Hospital, Msafiri Tours and Molia Foundation.
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
Junko. Yo. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the parish development model, PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, it is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a poultry project, and now things are moving.
Junko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
Mukoke Fish Farmers Association tuli balunzi ba byananda ebyebika ebisatu omuli Miracap, tilapia oba engege ni catfish twete male. Group eno twatandika twali abantu basatu nga tulingirira obwetaavu obwebyenanda obwivwa eno okubona nti tufuna okasente akava mu maadi agali gatambula butambule nga gatubita ku wanu ng'ekirabo. Twatandika ni fish pond ndala mu mwaka gw'e2018. Twebaza fisheries officer ni district ya Bugiri babanga batulagirira kusani fish farm ebwikwe inside day ndeyo twabanga tusobola okufuna kwetusaako obugege obwasooka era mu mwaka ogwali 2022 awo basobola okubanga batuwaayo ebyenanda emitwalo $40 okuva mu operation wealth creation era okuba yongereza ku emmere yatuweebwa okuva Uganda Poultry Breeders. Twasobola okubanga tusoloza akasente akawerera obukayire nga 42. Twasobola okubanga tubuinvestinga oba okubona nti twongerezaako ku bimu ku bintu bye tukola gano. Twebaza gavumenti yaife okubanga buli saawa efaayo okubanga efeeri y'Abannayuganda.
This plan, as the name prescribes, is the project for restoration of livelihood in northern region. So it was designed to support the population in order to implement the national programs of wealth creation, improving household income, and this is done through supporting agriculture. And by supporting agriculture, you support seed production, training of farmers, mindset change, and even it went ahead to have components of food security grants, whereby families were given grants to be able to improve their food security. But there was also community-based natural resources grants, which were given to families to put in place wood lots, which would help them to reduce on clearing the vegetation and deforestation, looking for energy or for firewood. So this is my general perception. One, that this project entered in strategic areas of government, but that it has created a base for the now last mile strategy, which is the parish development model. And therefore this base that it has left will help us actually, and I'm sure we'll get better results in Achore area and Ajumani when we are implementing the parish development model.
Previously, in most of these areas that we had prioritized, farmers would produce, but you don't access market because the roads are not there. So you have the middlemen that would have access, and they persevere to go into those deep in the villages, and they buy with their own prices. They can go there and set prices for you, and yet you are the ones who are producing this food. But now this time with the market linkages, people can now access market because we have bridges that were, streams that were bottlenecks to access by the farmers. It has constructed bridges, so farmers can now reach market.
I've seen a number of community members out there that have formed themselves into groups and have identified enterprises, agricultural enterprises, rice and all that, and they've actually been successfully cultivating them. They've gone ahead, the project has gone ahead and also introduced small-scale industries like the rice huller, the grinding mills and all that that are managed by the groups. All these are successes.
City market lies in 4 acres of land with a population of about 4,000 registered market vendors who are doing business in this facility. We really appreciate the initiative of the government to come up with this project that is benefiting not only the business community within the market, but the entire community within actually sub-region. When you look at the market previously, the market used to be not like this one. With the market vendors, they used to sell under papyrus reeds. And we used also to ferry our goods, come and sell, then you take it in the stores or elsewhere. But now, due to this infrastructural development, the vendors now, they are able now to sell, cover your goods, leave it there.
African Airline Association, in conjunction with Uganda Airlines, presents the 55th AFRA Annual General Assembly between the 19th and 21st November 2023 at Speak Resort Hotel, Munyonyo, in the heart of Uganda, the Pearl of Africa. In attendance will be 500 high-profile African and global aviation leaders, 40 airline CEOs making strides to transform aviation for development. The 55th AFRA AGA is proudly powered by
It is Good Morning Uganda. This is the hour of our news bell. Welcome back. Thank you so much for keeping it Good Morning Uganda. I'm Olive Monica Najuma, and today we are going to go to the skies. By the skies, I mean we are going to have a conversation regarding the aviation sector. And I know that our national birds are out there doing us proud. By that I mean the Uganda Airlines. We have been expanding and going to different destinations. As actually of this year, we have now gone to Nigeria and we have gone to India as well, which is quite a substantial development for our airlines, and I'm here for it. And I believe that you too are rooting for our national bird. So today we will be having a conversation regarding aviation, like I said, because the growing middle class and of course increasing continental integration and a huge economic potential all provide reason to be optimistic about the future of Africa's aviation sector. And of course, for many African governments, this is regarded as a cash cow, and it is continuing to grow. So many efforts have been put there to ensure that we know what we are doing, and of course, to have conversations that pertain to the sector and see how we can develop it to even larger and greater heights. Pun intended. So at least 500 delegates from 35 African countries will convene in Kampala between the 19th and 21st of November. This is starting 21st. When is 19th? It is very soon. Anyway, I have someone from Uganda Airlines, that is Shakira Rahim Lama, the head of corporate affairs and communications at Uganda Airlines, and we will be having this conversation with her. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You look beautiful.
Thank you. You too.
Yeah, so we will delve deeper right into this conversation, and of course we will start with Shakira telling us more about the Africa Airlines Annual General Summit, and what does it mean for Uganda hosting it?
So the African Airlines Association, it's a member association for 45 airlines on the continent, started 1968 in Accra, Ghana. So usually they have an annual general assembly every year, and every year they get to vote which country would host the AGM. So for us, it's an honor for us to be able to host 500 delegates from all over the world. You have tech giants in the industry, providing solutions for airlines. You have manufacturers, you have other aviators like civil aviation, you have regulators like IATA, you have academia, you have researchers, you have so many companies that are providing solutions, but also, most importantly, policymakers, people who are going to listen and provide solutions to open the skies in Africa. So some of these conversations are going to mean so much for Uganda and for the airline, being that we are young and 3 years in the skies. Yes. So that is what it means for this country, even for tourism, because, for example, we are marketing the country.
That's true.
For those 500 delegates, some of them are already in the country. They're already tracking gorillas, exploring the Nile, bird watching. Some of them are going to even stay longer for the same vacation time. So you find that we're opening up the country for bigger things than even just aviation.
And especially after the COVID-19.
Yes. So you're putting a spotlight to the industry, which is young and just upcoming.
Okay. Yes. So, of course, mentioning COVID-19, we all know what that did to the aviation industry.
Yes.
And but I think we are recovering steadily from that. So, what pertinent issues are going to be discussed during this annual summit?
Yes. That is a valid question, and some of the key issues will be looking at how we can increase the intra-African connectivity, because you know that it is it's expensive to travel in Africa, more than Europe or in America. So we're saying that because Africa, we don't have a connecting road network, okay? And the airline industry is the only infrastructure that connect African countries. But we are saying that it is costly. So those are the SATAM is going to come to talk about how we can increase and we can open our skies to connect African people, and this will also provide similar solutions for trade, tourism, and business for African countries. Then also some of the key issues are going to be centered around women in aviation. How can we increase women in aviation, in the cockpit, in mid-level management, top management in aviation? Then also other issues will center around how can we increase efficiency and also lower costs in the industry, because the cost of operation in the airline industry is very high. And then also we'll look at how we can nurture the next generation aviators to increase more professionals into the industry. Yes. And also tourism. Because here we've flipped things around as Uganda. We've said that tourism contributes a lot in the airline sector. So we're saying that we need to give them a voice. And that panel would really bring some things to light, because we're saying that if we don't have tourists flying into these countries, that we also don't have business.
That's true.
Because they fill up our planes.
Yes,
yes,
that's true, because you have to factor in how many Ugandans travel outside and back into the country. So in as much as the numbers are growing steadily, we still cannot depend on only them. So this is one way of opening up the country.
Brilliant.
Interesting. So what does the future of aviation, of the aviation sector look like in Africa, especially given that there are airlines that are already closing shop?
Yeah, I think after COVID, there was a rethink into the sector. You're looking at so many things coming into play, and the factor is cost of production, rather cost of operation. For example, fuel. For example, before COVID, we were looking at, now the increase is, we're paying 3 times more on fuel. And then also you're looking at taxes. And that is the contributor to the low inter-African travel with air transport. So now you find that sometimes airlines cannot sustain operations and then they'll close. But this is a national carrier that is set up initially to provide opportunities, to open doors, to be enablers, to trade, business, and tourism. So such an infrastructure, you cannot just get rid of it. You keep supporting the infrastructure until it grows, okay? And the future now, we're looking at how can we reduce costs in the industry. But also we're looking at the new developments in the industry. For example, like the sustainable aviation fuel. What does that mean for a young airline like Uganda Airlines? Yes. Shall we be able to afford it? What about the research? The distribution network of that fuel. So those are the things that are going to be thought about as we plan, as we strategize into our next planning period, and even the rest of African carriers. So these are the conversations that will take center stage during the AGA.
Okay.
To look at the future, what it looks like. Yes. How can we keep sustaining airlines, especially the new airlines, that are ones that are just growing.
The babies.
Yes.
So to speak. So speaking actually about costs, I'm sure the viewers out there would like to know your thoughts on that 2025 general deadline of partially incorporating the sustainable aviation fuel if we are to fly into the European space.
Yes. Yeah, that is a tall order on a young airline, because we're still thinking about other things now, enter SAF. And that means that we have to go into conversion. Engines have to be converted. Engineers have to be type rated onto that kind of equipment. where are we getting this fuel? Who's producing it in Africa? When do we do a test flight? So when you look at all these things, Afra has to now, we have to have a voice, a collective voice, to look at this deadline. Is it really feasible for African Airlines? Yeah, and then if it is, then also as African countries, now we have to move very fast into research. Why can't we now start producing our own stuff? Because it's already in production. Some are flying it. We've had like Ethiopia, we have KQ, they had their test flights and they cost an arm and a leg. And then when you look at the deadline of 2050 to have our fuel blended or 100% SAF blend.
That is 2050?
Yes, if you want to fly into Europe. That is also another one.
Wow.
Yes, so it means that even now we have the old equipment. How are we going to get rid of it, or how are we going to convert it? How are we going to train our engineers to be able to manage those engines that are going to run on that kind of fuel?
Okay.
So those are the questions that are in the room.
So currently, where are we getting the fuel from?
That is the question. It's a plant-based fuel.
Because if they're saying we need to have blended our fuel by 2050,
actually 2025, 2%.
Yes, 2025.
To 2%, yes. So one engine has to be running on that kind of fuel. So, but it's a plant-based fuel.
Plant-based?
Yes, it is plant-based because they're going green. It's a green revolution, and the future is green. And
this is where we are handling issues of carbon copy and what?
Yes, they are decarbonizing the industry. Yes, it comes from that thought of decarbonizing the industry.
Okay.
So if you want to decarbonize, so you're going to change the way you operate. Yes, sustainably, yes. So if you're talking about sustainability, now you have to look at even how the kind of equipment that you use. Is it SAF ready? What about on board? For example, for us, we've already started, we've reduced portions in the cabin, food portions, so that we manage the waste. We don't want to waste food. And we have changed our cabin lines, amenities, into sustainable wood. Forks are wooden, and yes, recyclable materials, less of polythene and all these things. So we've started already, we were into that mode, and we're looking at blankets that can dry faster. How can we, when we are washing our aircrafts, how can we ensure that water is recycled into and goes back into,
even
production?
Water.
Yes, so those are the things that we are working on and thinking about. Yes. So fuel is another game changer that is of course, it's a big move.
Whoever knew that there would be a time when airlines would be using plant-based fuel?
Yeah.
Interesting times. But of course, in the spirit of climate change, we all need to do what we can do to ensure that we cater to our climate.
Yes.
Because you can't outcompete the climate, Mother Nature.
Yes.
So we've seen some tremendous progress made in Africa's aviation industry. We have airlines that are already chartering the routes of Europe and the Americas. And what does this speak for the continent, and are other African countries taking advantage of these routes?
Yeah, we have the giant in the room, like ET, that Ethiopia. It has a wider connectivity and a wider network. It's already flying into all these continents. It gives us hope. We're also going to fly.
It gives you something to look forward to.
Yes, we're already planning to fly to. We have a slot, Heathrow, and we're looking at other points in Europe. We're even dreaming to fly to North America. So these dreams don't stop. We just have to strategize and make sure that we have our network planning on point and our connectivity right. But most importantly, we want to open up Africa to create an air bridge to these spaces, like we did with Lagos. Now we're connecting. We've already positioned an air bridge to West Africa.
Is that a direct flight?
Yes. And we have reduced it from, let's say, 15 hours or 10 hours max to now with the Airbus 3.5
That's interesting.
Yes.
Good development.
So you find that if you're flying now to West Africa, now you have that as a feeder route. It's feeding into the hub in Entebbe. So someone can come from Lagos and connect to Mumbai.
They don't have to worry about, at least between Uganda and Lagos, they don't have to worry about long layovers.
Yes, it's a direct flight. Even to Mumbai.
Even to Mumbai, it's direct.
It's a direct flight. So if you have now such a network, you keep opening up points in Africa, they're feeding the hub, it will be very easy for us now to operate in Europe because you have all these people connecting, creating a buzz in Entebbe airport, making the airport busy, bringing forex, opening up the country, tourism and trade and other opportunities, creating employment. So for us, we were looking at the future of this airline, and it's something that will change this country. Yes.
Okay. So I guess that the need to create a buzz at the airport is what informed the decision to open up routes and charter routes into places like Nigeria and even Mumbai. And there were questions, I remember, when we launched into Mumbai and even Nigeria, where people were asking, okay, can we be able to get direct flights to New Delhi and also to other African countries, and how soon?
Yes, because Mumbai is the gateway to India, and when you land Mumbai, then you start proceeding to other states like Chennai, Bangalore. You fly to New Delhi, Ahmedabad. Yes, we have dreams of flying there. It's in our plan. We even want to have interlines or code shares with carriers in India. When we drop, they can always uplift you to all these destinations in India. There is that thought. But also there's another thought that we can, for example, fly to Ahmedabad one time a week, and then fly to Mumbai maybe twice a week. So there's also that thought. But most importantly is us partnering, having strategic partnerships with carriers in these countries that can always have a continuance of flying our guests to the destinations that they want to proceed to. Yes, and then when you look at for example, other points in Africa, we're looking at Lusaka. Yes, we're looking at Harare. We're looking at Cape Town. We're looking at Accra, Ghana. We've been looking at North Africa.
Interesting.
Yes.
And that would be good. That would be good because many Ugandans, travel to these destinations. Now, as we close, what would you share about this coming summit, and what should what should interest the Ugandan out there to attend it?
Actually, it's an invite-only event.
Oh, okay.
But it will be widely covered, streamed also online. But for us, hosting this event, it is a statement that reaffirms our position into now the industry. 4 years old, and you get to host the biggest event on the continent. That is something that we cannot take for granted. But also bringing in all these giants in one room, the networking opportunities. Because remember that these companies have done everything elsewhere. The opportunities now, they're looking into Africa. So if you have a nascent company, a young company, you want to network with some of these companies. These companies are scouting for technologies, for opportunities, for young people to do different things in Africa. They also want to give back in Africa. So these are the things that we think that are going to change this country after this AGA. Yes.
Well, all right. I've been speaking to Shakira Lamar from Uganda Airlines. She's the Public Affairs and Communications Manager at Uganda Airlines. And she has been giving us an insight about what is going to happen at the AFRA Annual Summit that is going to take place from 19th to 21st November at Speak Resort Munyonyo here in Uganda. It is going to be widely covered. So if you have any questions or curiosity about the aviation sector in Africa, especially about intra-Africa travel, this is an event you need to look out for and check out where it is going to be covered, their social media channels and different media houses. This is Good Morning Uganda. My name is Olive. Thank you so much, Shakira, for being here.
Thank you too. Thank you for hosting me.
African Airline Association, in conjunction with Uganda Airlines, presents the 55th AFRA Annual General Assembly between the 19th and 21st November 2023 at Speak Resort Hotel, Munyonyo, in the heart of Uganda, the Pearl of Africa. In attendance will be 500 high-profile African and global aviation leaders, 40 airline CEOs making strides to transform aviation for development. The 55th AFRA AGA is proudly powered by
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Hello, good morning again, and many thanks for sticking around to Good Morning Uganda. And this time round, we are here, or I am here, to give you details coming in from the world of business. I am Jerome Paul Sonko. Now, there is some interesting information coming up, something that we will definitely be excited as much. Come 2024, Uganda will be printing its own banknotes. How you perceive that information is definitely dependent on how you do understand the economics at play in here. Now, according to what is actually coming in, it was revealed that the Entebbe factory that will be used to print these banknotes is at 70% of its completion, and this will be followed up by installation of specialized machines which will be used in production. Now, only to give you a few of the same, on June 11th in 2016, a joint venture agreement was penned down between the Uganda Printing and Publishing Corporation as well as the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development to see that Uganda will be able to print its own money. So from 2016, now if you're to push that to 2024, that will be ideally around 8 years of the journey. And of course, the Office of the President and the consortium of Veridos and GISEC were among those that were part of this particular consortium that would see, or that will see, Uganda start printing its own banknotes come 2024. Of course, it has actually sparked of public debates about what it means for Uganda. Well, we're ready, but well, it's a big moment of celebration for Uganda's economy as well. You do not want to go without mentioning that too. Now, as we leave that aside, let's get into other business news this morning, as the non-compliance by businesses in Kampala due to their tax obligations is alarming highly, according to new tax data from the Uganda Revenue Authority. And this is according to a research finding by the United Nations University in wider collaboration with the Uganda Revenue Authority, that the study recommends value of data-driven approaches in understanding tax compliance patterns and revenue losses. Now, many businesses in Kampala City do not comply with tax obligations. Others fail to clear the taxes. We've always had issues with URA reminding different businesses to file in their returns. All of that is one of the key findings from this particular report as well. Now, when you look at the situations coming in, the prevalent non-compliance with the tax system poses a major challenge to the state capacity and inclusive growth. When you look at the latest figures, it's less than 15% of firms in Kampala that pay both the national corporate income tax and the local trade license fee. This is according to the research, again, the research finding by the United Nations University, wider and URA. So that is the United. So when you look at this report, the aggregated estimated revenue loss due to non-compliance in Uganda's commercial capital is approximately $2.6 million US, and that is according to figures that were reported or recorded in 2022. However, this is seen as a lower bound estimate by analysts. Now, currently, the country's tax to GDP ratio remains low at 11.4%. Elsewhere now, let's talk matters Energy Week. Uganda is gradually becoming a consumer of electric vehicles, with more than 20 vehicles plying the roads, all in the bid to realize the country's climate action and energy efficient goals. As this was revealed at this year's Energy Week, hosted by the Energy and Mineral Development Ministry, along with partners who dialogued on ways of availing energy efficient solutions to all Ugandans by 2030. Now, these are two of over 20 electric vehicles. In availing, there are two, rather, I beg your pardon. There are two of over 20 electric vehicles in Uganda that are being sold by foreign car manufacturers, according to details that are coming up as well. Now, as the world strives to reduce carbon emissions, government is challenged to adapt climate resilient technologies at a way faster speed while utilizing local raw materials and human resource. Now, beyond mobility, energy efficiency for domestic use has been at the center stage, seeing SNV Uganda investing 11.8 billion in Ugandan businesses offering solutions that support the cause to reach rural Ugandans. And with that for our business this morning. But before that, before we do close off the business up, then let's get into the forex market to see how different currencies were trading by close of business Wednesday evening. By opening time, the US dollar was buying at 3,780.42 shillings while selling at 3,790.42 shillings. Then midday saw the US dollar buy at 3,781.75 shillings while selling at 3,791.75. Buying of the US dollar closed at 3,778.21 while selling did close at 3,788.21. The Great Britain pound, though, buying was at 4,718.60 while selling was at 4,731.09. Let's quickly run it out now to the euros. Buying was at 4,108.04, selling at 4,118.92. Then the Kenyan shilling saw buying at 24.84 while selling at 24.91 shillings. The Tanzanian shilling, on the other hand, was buying at 150 shillings while selling at 151 shillings. Then the South African rand buying was at 207.11 while selling at 207.66 shillings. And now it's time for us to also check out what is making headlines at the front pages of the papers. First, the New Vision, that is from our local dailies in Uganda. Checking in on Thursday, the New Vision highlights Museveni blasts USA, UK over travel alerts. The two countries issued advisory to their citizens ahead of against the Ginger Festival in question, Nyege Nyege. Now, also in the health perspective, anthrax breakout in Uganda. Then you can as well read about the royal wedding, ceremonial wife to hand over to the Inabantu. Now, the other series, Okello, the Ugandan who liberated Zanzibar. Read about that in the New Vision today. Now, fast track digital number plates, says President Museveni, a pictorial of the president with some police officers. Read about more of that with the New Vision edition today. Now, employment, Makerere, the job seekers forging varsity papers. New report. Now, in the Daily Monitor, DM today, relationships meant to be. Milton and Naomi met 18 years ago at university. Read about their love story. Then the UN harboring terrorists, says President Museveni. Then also the Daily Monitor says mark to verify degrees of its working alumni. That's also a headline as church clears Chabazinga wedding. Then in the other news, Museveni orders CMI out of Entebbe Airport. Scaramoja tables education reforms. Scientists have decoded why grasshoppers are a no-show. So for all of you having questions about the grasshoppers, the Daily Monitor has a report of the same in today's edition. Then now we do cross over to Kenya, the Daily Nation, highlighting Raila move jolts bipartisan talks. As new regulations set minimum pay for security guards at 30,000 Kenyan shillings. That is approximately 750,000 Ugandan shillings if you're to put it in quick forex math. But employ 40,000 intern teachers on permanent terms. That is what Kappa tells TSC. Then also in sports today, I-10 is running MAM. I love to see them win. And then in the scorecard, give Ruto time to fix economy. Mwaura now urges Kenyans. Then also, I have never met Anne Njoroge, says senior Kenya Revenue Authority official. Then there is also a war against diabetes. War against diabetes gets 1 billion Kenyan shillings shot in the arm. Now let's look at the Citizen newspaper that is with Tanzania. Revealed soft underbelly of family businesses in East Africa. Now stakeholders in fresh efforts to bridge employability gap. Then is a report of the do's and don'ts as dire skies open up. Read about that in the Citizen newspaper this morning. Now, that is it for what is making headlines at the front pages of the dailies, that is both in Uganda and in Kenya, and also not to forget Tanzania. Well, that is it for this particular segment. Now it's time for us to check out the traffic outlets.
And good morning once again. I'm Olive Monica Najuma. Now, thank you so much for being with us up until this moment. Now, if you have been waiting for traffic updates, here we go. And we will take it up from Charlie Wajala. That intersection you're looking at is the intersection in Charlie Wajala that takes you from the areas of Namugongo, Sonde, and the surrounding areas, and of course the areas of Chira and the areas of Chireka, all heading to Nalia direction. Now, if that's where you're headed or that's where you're coming from, this is the route that we are going to be looking at this morning. Now, as you can see right in the intersection, it looks actually that it looks more like there is a smooth flow of traffic this morning coming through from Namugongo and of course coming through from Chireka side and Chira side. I don't see any red zones, which means that at least for now, this route is still very clear for you that is going to charter it. Now let's move along and head into the areas of Nalia. And as you can see, I see a small red zone here that is trying to join the main Nalia Namgongo Road, but it is nothing to worry about. It is quite small, as you can see there. But then as we move ahead, still around the same area in Nalia, around that new Total petrol station that is opposite Quality Supermarket. You're going to find a bit of a traffic jam over there, and it now turns into an orange zone and later on still a red zone, which indicates that yeah, in some parts there is that traffic jam that makes you have to, you know, halt your driving. But then the orange zones mean that yes, there is some bit of a smooth flow of traffic, but not very fast. Now moving ahead, still around the market area, still in Nalia, you're going to find some bit of traffic there, and it is around the area that goes to Worship Harvest, and of course the area that goes to the opposite side of the road around Nalia SS. But moving along, there is a smooth flow of traffic up until when you are approaching the roundabout, the Northern Bypass roundabout in Nalia. Now around here, you're going to encounter some traffic jam coming in from Spine Road, joining Nalia Chaliwajala Road. And of course, as we reach the roundabout itself, there is a bit of traffic that is coming in from the Northern Bypass for the people that are coming from the areas of Chwatule. And of course, when we cross through and go up ahead, there is a bit of traffic after the roundabout in Nalia that is heading to the areas of Chwatule, but still it is not that intense. You won't lose a lot of time on the road. Now when we reach the intersection that has Majwala Road, and of course that is the road coming in from Chwatule, you're going to encounter some bit of traffic there, and as you continue still ahead, you will see now after that intersection that comes from Chwatule, this is where traffic jam begins. And as you can see, that red zone is deep at some point, meaning around this area there is traffic and it is intense. It is within that valley as you are heading up to Ntinda. That's where you're going to find that traffic jam. Now moving along to Old Chura Road, you're going to find that there is smooth flow of traffic here, at least for a bit of time, and the feeder roads are not bringing in any traffic as of this moment, so we have green zones everywhere. But as we move along, we are now starting to encounter a few orange and red zones over there. But they still transition into green zones, which means smooth flow of traffic around this area. And as we move along, still joining the traffic lights in Ntinda, there is still a smooth flow of traffic there. So if that's where you're headed, you are in luck this morning. Looks pretty good. Now I would like for us to actually follow the route that comes from Ntinda going to, it is called Stretcher Road. I would like for us to look at it and see how things are looking this morning. And so far so good, apart from the traffic that is coming in from Kakungulu Road, feeding into that main road, the rest of the road looks quite clear. There is smooth flow of traffic over there. Now still moving ahead, you realize that there is still smooth flow of traffic up until when you reach that intersection, where that intersection you're seeing on your screen. That's where you're going to find a little bit of traffic, but still around Tinder Market, around the traffic lights, you do realize that there is still smooth flow of traffic. There is a bit of traffic, light traffic coming in through from Chimera Road, but still things look good. Now I also see that there is traffic coming in, joining Stretcher Road from Ntinda 2 Road. Now this one is intense because that red zone coming in from Katalima Road feeding into Ntinda 2 Road, which now feeds into the main Stretcher Road, is quite intense. But the good news is when you go along with Stretcher Road, there is smooth flow of traffic over there. So this is the best route to use, at least from what I'm seeing right now. At the traffic lights there, as Stretcher Road joins Spear Motors, that is where you're going to encounter some light traffic at that intersection, but it is an orange zone, which means the traffic there is still light. But as you move ahead, now Jinja Road starts to have intense traffic, as you can see over there. Those red zones are quite extensive, meaning you're going to lose quite some time on this road. As you can see, as we move along, this is Jinja Road and it all looks red zones everywhere. So if that's where you're going, you should note that Jinja Road, up until when you reach the roundabout, has traffic coming through from Spear Motors. It doesn't let up until when you reach Access Road that takes you to 7th Street and 6th Street. And as I look at 6th Street, there is traffic coming through from there, and of course traffic coming through from 8th Street. So if these are routes you're going to use, you need to note that there is also huge traffic coming in from Mukwano Road joining Jinja Road. But when you continue with the Kampala Jinja Road, then the traffic flow becomes smooth for you. Well, that is all we could do for you, or what the route that we could show you this morning as far as traffic updates are concerned. I hope that by the time you hit the road, that things may have slowed down a bit and that there is smooth flow of traffic once you are on the road. Otherwise, I wish you a beautiful day. And as you are on the road, please maintain discipline on the road and safeguard not only your life, but the lives of other road users. My name is Olive Monica Najuma.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
MTN Momo Pay is the easy way to pay. Dial *165*3# or use the MTN Momo app. You don't need cash. MTN Momo Pay is safe and free.
African Airline Association, in conjunction with Uganda Airlines, presents the 55th AFRA Annual General Assembly between the 19th and 21st November 2023 at Speak Resort Hotel, Munyonyo, in the heart of Uganda, the Pearl of Africa. In attendance will be 500 high-profile African and global aviation leaders, 40 airline CEOs making strides to transform aviation for development. The 55th AFRA AGA is proudly powered by
UBC is the national public broadcaster. We educate, inform, entertain, and inspire our audiences. You can watch us on free-to-air channel 001, DSTV channel 282, GoTV channel 371, Star Times channel 201, Zuku TV channel 20, and Azam TV channel 350. Even when your subscription expires, you can still watch UBC for free on your pay TV platforms.
Previously, in most of these areas that we had prioritized, farmers would produce, but you don't access market because the roads are not there. So you have the middlemen that would have access and they persevere to go into those deep in the villages and they buy with their own prices. They can go there and set prices for you, and yet you're the ones who are producing this food. But now this time with the market linkages, people can now access market because we have bridges that were, streams that were bottlenecks to access by the farmers. It has constructed bridges, so farmers can now reach market.
This perennial, as the name prescribes, is the project for restoration of livelihood in northern region. So it was designed to support the population in order to implement the national programs of wealth creation, improving household income, and this is done through supporting agriculture, and by supporting agriculture, you support seed production, training of farmers, mindset change, and even it went ahead to have components of food security grants, whereby families were given grants to be able to improve their food security. But there was also community-based natural resources grants, which were given to families to put in place woodlots, which would help them to reduce on killing the vegetation and deforestation, looking for energy or for firewood.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you so much for being with us on UBC TV. Welcome to Good Morning Uganda Agenda. Robert Chirabo is my name, in case you have just joined. And of course, we can't forget to thank you every time for being part of this show. Those that wake up with us from 6:30 all the way through to 9, then the extension and extra, we appreciate. And of course, we make sure that every time we bring to you information that is very relevant and transformational. Now, this morning, we are going to be discussing, I and my guests, we are going to be discussing something very important. We've seen examinations at national level. Now I talk about P7, Senior 4, and Senior 6. During their final exams at that level, national exams. And then they're entering a quite long holiday that we usually refer to as VAC. Now, what usually happens is so many problems. These young girls and the boys are very vulnerable. Most of them are lucky to continue, but there's another big chunk that end at one level because of various reasons. Now, we want to look at sustainable learning. We want to look at learning for sustainable development. How do we ensure that we continuously have learning through, and to be more specific for the girl child? Now, like I earlier told you, I'm not alone in studios. I have Madam, let me use that, Madam Harriet Karen Mokajambo, I hope I have the right pronunciation, who happens to be the team leader and executive director of Global Learning for Sustainability. You're most welcome. You're most welcome to the show, and thank you so much for finding time.
Thank you so much, Chirabo, for hosting us on TV, UBC TV. Good morning, viewers from all over Uganda. We are happy to be sharing some of the things that make sustainable education for our society and particularly Uganda, but also Africa at large. Thank you so much.
Then at the extreme end, I have a gentleman that really whenever I just look at him and feel very happy because he was my primary teacher. And that is, he is currently the district inspector of schools for Wakiso district. Mwanja William George, you're most welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chirabo. My name is Mwanja William George. I'm an inspector of schools in Wakiso, and thank you for hosting me.
I can't forget the days of Nakasero Primary School and all the OBs and OGs there. Well, I have a former teacher with us this morning on set. Now, I want to begin with Harriet. When we talk about education, and we are talking about sustainable education for development, for the benefit of our viewer, what are we referring to?
Thank you, Chirabo. Sustainable education is a concept actually that should mean that when learners go to school, when someone starts schooling, they are starting to acquire knowledge, they are starting to acquire skills and attitudes and even values that that can create a sustainable future. And when you talk about sustainable future, you're not just talking about passing exams. Like you said, today most students are sitting for exams, right? From primary, from A-level, O-level, whatever. University is inclusive. We are talking about a future that is just beyond passing an exam with 90. Because after all, you'll get a 90, and after getting a 90, you'll stay home for more than even 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, looking for a job. So it means you didn't acquire sustainable education. It means that you didn't acquire lifelong learning. And that's why Uganda as a country is also focusing on achieving sustainable development goals rather. So as an organization, Global Learning for Sustainability, actually, we focus so much on ensuring that young people have access to education, but also achieve education that can contribute to long life learning. Yeah, so basically that's what sustainable education should be, acquiring those skills, values that ensure that societies can be transformed socially and economically.
And today we are more looking at the girl child. Okay, the young, but specifically the girl child, because here she's more vulnerable. Now, where is the connectivity? Why, in particular, do you feel attention should be given to the girl child?
Okay, for one, we know that according to statistics, 4 million, I'm starting with primary education, around 4 million girls enroll for primary education, but as they progress, like toward the 7th year or the 6th year, things start changing, positively or negatively. I would like to say negatively, because the statistics actually show us by means of education that around 1 million can only transit to secondary education. So I think you see where the vulnerability is and the importance of ensuring that we invest in girls' education. So when the 3 million are left out of secondary education, when they don't have opportunity to actually proceed, a lot of things happen. Because of our culture, most girls are told, you're old enough, go and marry. Others are actually getting pregnant. Like the rate of teenage pregnancy actually in Uganda is alarming. Around 25% of girls get pregnant before the age of 18. So it means that if there are 4 girls in this room, 1 at least will get pregnant before the age of 18. So that is where the issue, the crisis is coming from for girls' education. Even when we keep talking about girls, women, it is serious. Of course, even boys drop out of school for the reason that they are men. They should go and, provide for the girls. They are getting pregnant. But I think it's something that everyone should be concerned about, like even boys, men. What is the impact of teenage pregnancy? I mean, what is the impact of losing such a population to such situations of teenage pregnancy. And I think we also know the economic impacts of girls dropping out of school, because most of the times when girls get pregnant, it costs government, I'm sure. Health sector suffers the more. I mean, the economy suffers the more. Yeah, so it is important that we focus on reducing such statistics, and I'm sure I'll be talking about the solutions that can be, given or even done to make sure that girls continue their education, just even beyond finishing exams. Thank you so much.
Now, this takes me to William. When you talk about exams being done, and of course we know those are still doing, very soon they will be done with their exams, there's always that excitement of attaining a level. Now, when we look at our education system, as she has been able to hint on some of the challenges that the child faces, but why have they been recurring over and over? One would say maybe sometimes the education they go through should be empowering them, where possible, even to avoid issues like the most common being teenage pregnancy.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Chirabo. When the Minister of Education and Sports was designing the current curriculum, there are many areas that are emphasized on, leaving out different areas. For instance, I would give you an example. The current curriculum talks about the teaching of the co-curricular activities. And when you go to some schools, they teach only 4 subjects. That is math, English, SST, and science, leaving out the others that they want learners to pass and go to a secondary school. And when you reach the secondary school, there are also subjects that are meant to develop a skill, but they are not taught because they want the learners to go to university. Now, this one starts to leave out some learners who have different skills that can be developed to help them survive in the communities where they are. For instance, when you talk about games in football, netball, and so on, a school would say, we are wasting time.
These are not examinable.
They are not examinable. Yeah, but actually,
it just reminded me,
they help a learner.
How even parents do that. You tell a parent, your child is good in sports, and tell you, don't dare take my child that side. I brought my child here to study, get good grades. I want to take him to those schools I won't mention. Exactly. And I need a 4, I need a 6 category. Now you're taking her in drama, you're taking him in soccer.
So that one leaves the learners in suspense. When they go to a secondary school which does not also emphasize such subjects, then you find that they are left totally out. But it is of recent that parents have seen that their children and other people's children are getting or are earning a living through these co-curricular activities. When it comes to the girl child, it is actually embarrassing at times in some communities. Let me make this statement first before I continue. During COVID, I saw a girl who was 11 who got pregnant. Yes, she got pregnant, and at birth she underwent cesarean birth, and fortunately enough, there's a certain lady who picked her up, and she's back in school. But it is so bad on the side of the girls. When it comes to performance, and the girl is performing poorly, the father loses hope in that child and he gives up. When it comes to performance in class and the girl is not performing very well, she will herself also lose hope and start meandering here and there. Then you find that she has met somebody, she's pregnant, and things are not going on well. She also leaves the father of them, the so-called child, because of some reasons which she didn't foresee at first when they were still in love. So it is so unfortunate. Like my colleague said, at the beginning of primary one, the girls are many. By P7, they have reduced maybe by 30%. By senior 4, they have reduced by maybe 60%. And those who make it up to university is a small number. I think there is a loss of trend. We should help these people. Though we should not forget the boys, because these are the boys who are going to marry the girls that you are mentoring very well. So we should also have the two groups being helped, but most importantly, the girls.
Now I want to bring in Harriet. You're the team leader that is Global Learning for Sustainability. We've had these issues, we've lamented, we've had the statistics, we've held even global conferences in Uganda. But how do we move forward? Remains a very big challenge. Because I've had so many trainings on girl-child education when it comes to empowerment, with all this, but still there's something that we are missing to ensure that we can change statistics.
Thank you so much. You said that there is something we are missing, and indeed we are missing a lot. We are missing on policies, implementing policies. We are missing on, you know, transforming gender norms, like I said, changing attitudes. He said that a girl of 11 got pregnant, and this is just not a girl, she is actually a baby. Yeah, if you are a father and you have a child who is 11 and they're getting pregnant, how does it feel? I mean, are you empathetic enough if you're, I don't know whether you're a boy or a man, to really have a sexual, you know, affair with such an age? So, good news is that there are policies that are actually in place, internationally, nationally, maybe they lack at a local level, I don't know, but they set a minimum age first for sexual consent, that if a young person, a girl or a boy, I think it even also means that even a boy below 18 years cannot consent to have sex. But I think this is something we keep pretending that you're old enough, like I said, because of, you know, gender norms, because of poverty, parents are telling off their daughters to get married as early as even before 18 years of age, okay? Yeah, that even when we know that a girl at 11 years can get pregnant, policies don't work. And I think governments all over the world invest a lot in developing these policies. Of course, they use taxpayers' money. If it is NGOs, they get donors to support these processes. But it is so embarrassing, like he said, that a girl of 11 years, 14, whatever, it doesn't even matter, can get pregnant, and their future is basically coming to an end. Yeah, so one of the things we need to do, Chirabo, and our viewers, is to make sure that these policies are working. Because like I said, teenage pregnancy is not just affecting a family or a girl. It is affecting us as a country, because the government will put a lot in healthcare systems. At the end of the day, it is a broken healthcare system, because there's too much to look at. Because even women above 18 are giving birth, and you have to take care of them. Now you also bring this burden of teenagers getting pregnant. I mean, what are we up to? I think we just need to drastically end. It's so embarrassing that girls are still getting pregnant. Like, even when you go to, sometimes you go to communities, there's a story of a girl who was actually sitting exams just this season last month, and they were pregnant. Another one almost gave birth during exams. I think these are stories that are always being heard, whatever. But yeah, then second is that universal primary education, of course, was also brought in and has really facilitated education of girls. I think numbers have increased, they've shot up, but I think the quality of education we get is still lacking. So let's look at skill. Like you talked about skilling, and I really liked it. What skills can students get? But who is also in touch with these students to give them the skills they need? Like we talked about sustainable education and what it means. If a teacher has no skills, what skills is he or is she going to give your child?
Because you can only give what you have.
Exactly. You cannot give what you have. So I think there's also there must be a policy to make sure that every teacher must have a skill. Let us not talk about skilling of children in schools when actually the teachers who are always in contact with these children do not have the skills needed. So the training teachers training institutes, yes. What information, what ideas, what skills are they giving actually the teachers who are going to be part of, you know, the school systems? So, Mr. Inspector, it's my prayer and plea that you make training institutions quite sensitive to the issues we're talking about. Let every teacher come out with a skill that they can transfer to the students. And because of course, like teenage pregnancy, like one of the causes is economic, you know, issues, poverty. You know, girls will always look for, needs, basic needs that parents cannot even provide. Yeah, so a man comes with 5,000, just 5,000, and the girl feels, oh, how can I get someone giving me 5,000? Like, it is a miracle. It feels nice for a girl to be given 5,000. When the father, she has even never seen a father, by the way. Like, these things even happen to families where they are single parents mostly, they're already like dysfunctional families. So a man comes and can woo this girl to do anything with them. And that's why we now need to change the attitudes of young men, boys, who are taking for granted the vulnerability of these girls and young women altogether. So allow me to stop there for now.
Well, rightly talked about policies. Uganda is one of the countries, I must believe and say, that we have very good laws and policies. I think our only challenge in that area comes with enforcement and implementation. For example, we have a law where having sex with a girl below the age of 18, you know, it's one of the toughest laws, defilement. Either it's life imprisonment or death. We have universal primary education in our country. So we expect that the girls who must be in school, by the way, at this particular age. If anyone risks, they will face the death penalty. That would be another challenge for them. But at the end of the day, with the good laws, with the good policies and systems, we find that these problems still exist. Now, this takes me back to people in the education arena. William, when we talk about our education cycle, that when one ends at primary 7, automatically they must go for all level, then there someone can be looked at as having attained education, maybe after university or going to a tertiary institution. Now, even there they come out without skills. Now, the problem of poverty that she has alluded to and all these being victims come in here, because how best can we ensure that even when a person stops at a particular level, they can still sustain themselves? They have learned, they have not just passed through school.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Chirabo. It depends on the guidance of the parent. But government has put up schools that take on P7 leavers. Those are the tertiary institutions, vocational training institutes. And for instance, in Wakiso, we have an institution that takes on P7 leavers. But you'll find only 46 students being admitted in this institution. So the parents around that institution would use the opportunity that they have that institution in that area and take learners there to take on skills. It has all the skills. But the attitude of the parents at times also leaves us to wonder. Because by senior 3, you are leaving a girl that to stop going to school that you don't have money. But near you, there is an institution. Around in your constituency, there is an institution that takes on P7 learners. So parents should be guided on what to do. For us, we do the guidance to the head teachers and the other directors. We tell them there is an institute that takes on P7 legals. The parents should take the learners there. Then after O-level, there is also another challenge. When you go for A-level and you don't perform very well, then somebody will take on using the O-level certificate. But if at all after O-level you take on a learner to take on a skill in a technical institution, then that learner can continue upgrading. By the way, even after P7, you go to an institute, get a certificate, then you go for upgrading. And you'll find this person becoming an engineer just because of upgrading. First of all, there's an advantage that that student is working, after the training is working, and can pay for himself or herself for the upgrading. It's very good, but that guidance, at times some parents ignore at the beginning, and between senior 1 and senior 4, somebody says, I don't have money. So then the other thing, with the skills, I wish government would say that train in a particular skill before you continue to HSC. That would be a very good hook to get those people who would wish to continue with a skill, or somebody has acquired a skill, and when he goes to A-level and is ready to go to the university, he has a skill that he can teach to other learners, or that the other learners can emulate from that person, that at least this one is taking on law, but he knows how to make a shoe. Yeah, that is it. But the challenge is looking for jobs, collar jobs. Yeah, which is actually not very good. You find somebody looking for a job for 8 years. 8 years. So it's not easy. But if somebody is looking for a job and has a skill that can help that person to earn a living, then it will be okay. Now, when it comes to the girl children, I had a daughter. She's now a vacist. She was in Gayaza Junior. But this girl can have good materials that she has sold. No? They make soap, liquid soap. When you go to Gayaza Junior visitation, the girls are there standing. Can you buy this? Can you buy this? You know, that is the type of education we are talking about. A girl from Gayaza Junior can have at least a scale. A girl from Gayaza High, they go down, they dig, they do what they should. So that by the time they leave such a school, at least they have a skill. But when it comes to having only O-level, having only 8, having only 12, when that particular student cannot even produce just a simple thing using his or her hands, it's not good. So it depends on the guidance that the parents and the school is giving to that particular learner. But I have a belief that these learners here, after senior 4, they should go for a skill for 1 full year. Then they continue with HS. That is my belief.
That is, I don't know if Harriet fits in the same.
I do. Yeah, so let me even start from where we started from. Talking about vocational training. I think after P7, for sure, after 7 years of learning, of sustainable learning and education, someone should be able to do something, you know. And then you also add on 4 years, that is O-level, and still someone can't do anything. Then senior 6, then university. We even have actually graduates of masters that are still looking for jobs. Like someone can have a master's and they're sleeping and they're okay with it. But that is also not a problem. We also know the cost of investing in education. when a parent is struggling to raise fees for their children, I'm talking about low income, you know, parents, really parents that are struggling, and after 4 years, a girl child can't even have a job. I mean, I think it derails you, like it makes you feel that maybe education is not worthwhile. And also, when you look at the requirements for skilling in technical institutes, I don't know, private or even government, it is too much. So by the time a parent raises money to even further education, informal education like training, it is too much for them. It is too much for them that even going for a technical course at YMCA, is it YMCA, anywhere, it is becoming more costly than university, than secondary education. And I think this is where the challenge is coming from. So I think this must have also to come with policies to ensure that if someone has already entered school, okay, primary, secondary, university, let them have a skill. Let it be compulsory. Let it be a policy that everyone must have a skill they are learning, so that is easy to transit to any other level, and someone can really do what they are supposed to do or feel you're supposed to do. Let me just use an example of developed countries. Like if you look at USA, by the time someone is 16, they know what they are meant to do. Yeah, like you're not gambling, yeah? I remember in senior 4, we were forced to do biology, a lot of subjects, but right now we don't even know what happened to the knowledge. Like you can't even recall a simple lesson you studied in biology. But when someone has a talent in singing, grow it, then there be institutions, then there be spaces for our children to learn what they are best suited for. I'm sure every child, even we are parents, I think all of us here, I'm also a mother, but there's that child you see at home and they're so interested in either singing or they are stubborn. So you have to shape that kid to take up a job that fits in his or her character, but is lacking. Parents these days take their children to schools because they have money. You know, I have to take my kid to Budo because, you know, it's a school, it's the school, you know, things like that, yeah? But also ensuring that if you are to have a talent, the school you're going to, does it promote the talent? Yeah, because that is also possible, that parents may take the children to good schools or any other school because they are thinking that if I take my child here, they'll grow up into a person they want. Like me, I loved writing, even studying up. And for me, it is writing that actually makes me who I am. Yeah, it doesn't matter how much you're earning. Like you said, someone spends years looking for a job. I mean, what do you feel you can do? Because even when you get a job and you're just looking for money, trust me, it will not help. It will not help. So I think learners, parents, teachers should identify the skills children have, even when they are studying. When a child is performing badly, I was a poor performer in math. Yeah, don't mistreat them. I mean, children are beaten for failing English, you know. It's funny. You're beaten for failing chemistry. I don't know if these things are still happening. I've taken them without going to schools, but it's funny. Like, that is not sustainable education. Beating a child because they failed, I mean, history. I mean, it
gives them better concentration next time they're in class.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, very interesting. Yes, you wanted to supplement
say something.
Yes.
I have 2 examples of schools in my district. One school is Light College, Bulenga. They have a vocational department in that school. And recently, DIT awarded the learners DIT certificates. I felt I was humbled. Because if a senior 3 girl or boy can produce a desk or a chair at senior 3 level, then there is education there. Another school I went to is I will not say small school, it is a school in Nanziga. It is called the Nest of Joy. I found a P4 boy who was sewing the uniforms of that school in P4.
That is a business.
And I said, what is this? you know, that child is going to go to school with his skill, and I don't think he will lament in this world. I don't think. And many other schools, I would not give an example of each and every school, but I felt I was touched by those two experiences in P4. And a boy is sewing dresses, is sewing shorts and shirts for that school. It is amazing. It's amazing. So I think the guidance of the school in the learner's education is very important. Maybe when we are having changes in the curriculum, the developers are thinking so much about these issues.
The new lower secondary curriculum.
Yeah, like the new lower secondary curriculum. One of the people who gave out the books to secondary schools, but I saw the textbooks that are so relevant. A textbook talking about performing arts in senior 1. It is very good. If the learner can get inspired to read and do what the textbook or the teacher is telling that learner to do, then that learner will continue, be interested in the subject and would take on that skill. Yeah.
Now this brings me back to Harriet. Time can fly so fast. But Harriet, here we are, exams are done. How best can we safeguard these vacists? Because yes, whatever level they have stopped at and entered VAC after completing the exams, very important is how best do we protect, how best do we ensure sustainability?
Thank you so much. One of safeguarding young people are returning from school, both girls and boys, is to ensure that parents are awake. Parenting is also key in everything we are talking about. Yes, when you give your child spaces, of course, to explore, to exercise their rights, what is the impact, you know? Most of the parents are busy. Like, parents have no time for their children, and it is because of the economy, we understand that. Yeah, but think about what your child may go through when you're not home. Think about the challenges that a girl child can face when you are away, and ensure that you're being there for your children. Another thing is to make sure that girls are mentored. We are lucky that we can be able to support some girls through leadership trainings, through mentorship, so that they can actually acquire the knowledge, skills, and attitudes they need. But most girls who are in rural areas, even urban centers, do not have access to such, you know, groups or organization, whatever, that can mentor them and change their attitude, because it also starts with me as a girl. What do I want? Do I exactly know what I want? So as an organization, we make sure that we support girls understand themselves, they develop confidence and pursue their goals. I think telling young people to pursue their goals beyond the challenges they are facing sustainably is really important. Yeah.
Well, time seems to be flying. I'll just have William give us your parting shot as we move out of here.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think, first of all, yes, parents have to go for work, but they should leave behind another eye on their children. Then the other thing, as these vaccines take on their vacation, they should be guided to go for skills. For instance, after P7, put your daughter near a person who is having a sewing machine, such that she can spend time there. If not, take these learners for computer skills. If you are in the village, go with your learners, go with your children in the garden, monitor them. Now, the most vulnerable girls are those ones in the villages, because they are not near a sewing machine, they are not near a computer. So the parents should be so close to these girls, so close, such that they guide them. Yes, you may be too close, but with a lot of guidance. These days, we should not leave our girls to go to relatives. Relatives have also done a lot of havoc. Have your burden. If you have the children, have your burden. Stay with them. Have them. These days, it is not easy to send a girl to a Koja or a Brianga brother and so on. It's not easy. So have your children. God gave you those children. Mentor them, guide them if you want to get something out of them. Thank you.
And Harriet, your final remark.
My final remark is that let us co-parent. Like, we work with girls, and most parents are actually single, and I talk about women. So if a woman must take care of the family as a woman, as a single parent, and the father's actually no longer in the pictures for some of the vulnerable girls we are talking about. They don't care. Yeah, they don't care. Even when you look at teenage pregnancies, girls will tell you, I don't know the father. So I think we need a serious policy to make sure that there's co-parenting in families, so that we don't just blame where your parents, I mean, going to your uncle is not the best solution, but where are the support systems for our communities, for our families. Thank you.
Well, I want to thank you so much, William and Harriet, and above all, our viewer. Thank you so much for being with us. It is very important that when children are back, students, pupils that have completed these exams, we do not become absentee parents. Find time, make it a priority. They need you. Make them your friend. Don't push for fear. Push for respect.
Exactly.
See you in the next hour. Ruben is up with sports.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Over 1,000 children with disabilities in Uganda every 5 years have not had access to adequate education. And this has been basically due to lack of assistive devices to enable them get reasonable accommodation in schools. Mokisa Humanity and Inclusion Foundation is leading a campaign to fundraise for assistive devices for 500 children with disabilities to get in school in the year 2024. Join us to fundraise for braille machines, slates and styluses, white cane, braille paper, hearing aid, wheelchairs, audiobooks, book recorders, JAWS software, among others on 10th December at Hotel Africana. Register your child with a disability by calling us on 0740 55 04 95 or 0783 91 11 14. Donations from well-wishers are also welcome. Entrance is 100,000, 150,000, 200,000 and a table goes for 1 million shillings. This is sponsored by UBC, Mokisa Inclusive Schools, Mokisa Nursery and Primary School, Herona Hospital, Msafiri Tours and Molia Foundation.
Junko. Yo. Wachiko. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Uganda, haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM.